We've recently done our business outlook survey, and of the 500 companies that we surveyed, almost 100% says that sustainability is extremely important to their business, but only 50% has started this journey. The reason why the other 50% have not started is because they do not know where to start. I realized the real change actually comes from home. I think in the near future, what you'll see is a lot of youth-led initiatives, youth-led solutions that will actually keep us in check, right? To make sure that we are on the right track.
We Shift World Change Podcast.
สวัสดีค่ะ Hello everyone and welcome to the We Shift World Change Podcast by GCNT. This is a show where we explore how people and organizations are shifting mindsets, industrial and ultimately the world toward a more sustainable future. Today we are driving into a topic of the heart of the real action. How collaboration with partners and supply chains can unlock the system-wide impact. Joining us is a leader from one of the ASEAN most active bank in the sustainable finance, the UOB. Please welcome Mr. Chow Wong Yuen, Chief Sustainability Officer at the UOB Thailand. Hi, good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
We are very excited to know more about the UOB business today, especially the UOB in Thailand.
Yeah.
Could you tell us more about why UOB choose to work on sustainability agenda as a core priority for the business?
Thank you for having me here today. So for UOB, our corporate purpose is really very much driven around building the future of ASEAN. And we believe from a purpose-driven banking perspective, building the future of ASEAN means incorporating sustainability, incorporating environmental and social responsibility into our business for that long-term business view. So sustainability is a core strategic pillar for us in Thailand. Now, it is very relevant in the ASEAN context. Firstly, we are very vulnerable to climate change. So I think it's something that is very close to our heart, especially with the recent Hat Yai floods in the south and even Malaysia that's impacted as well. So within the ASEAN context, that is climate risk is actually very, very prevalent. Now, another area which we are that is really close to our hearts is that supply chains is very important in the ASEAN economy. SMEs are the backbone of our economy. ASEAN as a whole, especially for Thailand as well. For a bank, we do not have the technological solutions to actually drive the decarbonization, drive the transition to a low carbon economy. What we do have is the ability to direct capital to these solutions to the companies that want to adopt these solutions. That's the reason why we develop our sustainable finance frameworks, our tools, our solutions to help our clients and the communities. So UOB, we have about 6,000 over employees. We have about 150 branches across the country. So we do have quite a substantial footprint in the country. Now, for us, when we started this journey, I think, and as with most companies, what we will do is we look at our own internal footprint first. So we made a very conscious effort for our assets. What we did was we made sure our buildings are all at a BCA Green Mark Platinum standard. So if you see our three buildings that we own, UOB Plaza, UOB Pakistan, UOB Sathorn, they are all BCA Green Mark Platinum. Last year, we also launched our first flagship green branch at Rayong. So that also achieved LEED Platinum certifications. Apart from the buildings, apart from the assets, we are also looking at EV refitting. We started our EV refitting program, and we also installed solar panels in the branches which we can do. Now, I think what's more interesting is not so much on the assets, it's the people. And what struck me personally quite impactfully, I would say, is that when I first started the sustainability office, I wanted to get a sensing on how much interest is there on the ground on this topic. And I wrote out a voluntary survey. It's voluntary, by the way. Of the 6,000 employees, more than 2,500 responded. And that just shows how much interest there is. Now, the responses were wide-ranging topics. There were people that just wanting to know more, and there were people there were employees that were asking, why are we not doing more? And a lot of them wanted to understand a bit more and understand how they can contribute to the sustainability efforts for the country. Now, one topic that actually surfaced time and time again, it was waste. And that's why we have this Waste to Wonder program, where we actually educate our staff on how to segregate waste, how is waste impacting our country, how is waste relevant to your lifestyles at home and at the office. And we've installed food composting machines in our buildings. We've started our waste segregation programs with a goal to actually reduce our waste to landfill. So I think our results were quite good. I think we've reduced about 100 tons of waste to landfill last year alone. So it's been gaining a lot of traction, and every employee is playing their part. So I think that was a very, very good starting point for us to understand the importance of sustainability within the bank. On one more thing, right? So I realized the real change actually comes from home. And why I said that is we had one program last year where we call it Better You for Kids, where we brought the employees' kids and some kids from outside to actually learn a little bit on UOB's waste segregation program, a little bit more about waste and things like that. And what we heard from the employees is that their kids at home are telling their parents, please throw your waste properly, right? So it's very much youth-led. I think in the near future, what you'll see is a lot of youth-led initiatives, youth-led solutions that will actually keep us in check, right? To make sure that we are on the right track.
Well, thank you. That's a very clear and good example of each individual of your people,
Yes.
your employee, that they can learn by their own journey, and
Yes.
also not only by doing, they also take the impact.
To be honest, I think in office for me, what made me really, really pleased and what made me swell with pride is when I see there was a queue to segregate waste after lunch. Right? So things like this are big wins for me, even though the overall impact may not be, but you are changing lifestyle by lifestyle, individual employees by individual employees, companies by companies. So this is the mantra that we I think as sustainability professionals we need to have. You can't change the world all at one go, right? It's still a step-by-step process.
Are there any things that you can share based on your experience in Thailand? Are there any example of the business that UOB could also help your clients?
Yeah. Actually, it's a very good point. So every time when we talk about sustainability, it's always, what can we do on our own, right? And it's a similar conversations that we have with our clients. When we talk to our clients, they will always talk about, I want to install solar rooftops. Can UOB finance me? So that was the starting conversations, and I believe most journeys always start off this way, even ourselves, right? The conversations became more complex when we started to realize that supplier readiness is very important for a company's sustainability goals. So that's the reason why we started getting a lot more requests from companies to say that, what can you do to help our supply chain decarbonize? What can you do? How can UOB come in? It could be from a capacity building perspective. It could be financing perspective. In what ways can we partner together to actually help me drive my supply chain to decarbonize? Now, from a bank's perspective, this is very this has aligned with our strategy as well. For banks like us, right? If you look at our Scope 1, Scope 2, and Scope 3 non-finance emissions, they are actually a very small portion of our total emissions. Now, if you look at our Scope 3 finance emissions, that's about 700 times more than Scope 1, 2, and the Scope 3 non-finance emissions combined together. So it is very important for us to look at our clients' emissions and how to help them decarbonize. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we do not have the technological solutions to decarbonize companies, right? To help companies start on that journey. So that's the reason why when we look at how we direct capital towards these activities, we came up with our sustainable financing frameworks. Now, these sustainable financing frameworks are similar to taxonomies in the sense that it's to identify what is considered green, what's considered transition. So that's how we start angling clients to start looking at these activities and say, like, if you are going to embark on these activities, speak to us. We have that ecosystem which you can bring in together to help you start on this journey. We've recently done our business outlook survey, and of the 500 companies that we surveyed, almost 100% says that sustainability is extremely important to their business, but only 50% has started this journey. The reason why the other 50% have not started is because they do not know where to start, right? And that's the reason why we first developed that sustainability compass tool. It's a simple questionnaire that any small business can try. Even students can test it out, right? Just to see where you are at and then what are the next steps to take. Now, with this starting point, businesses will start thinking that, okay, what can I do next? Now, that's where we have other programs like our Green Tech Accelerator, where we connect our green tech startups to some of our corporate clients to develop some solutions, or our FinLab Sustainability Innovation Program, where we help SMEs to start on this sustainability journey. Now, I think what you mentioned earlier is a little bit more on how we work with the ecosystem, how we bring other players into this journey to bring them the technical expertise as well. As I mentioned earlier, I think it's very clear, the technical solution providers are not us, right? So we work with technical solution providers together with together with them and together with other technical advisors. We came up with our U-Series solutions. Now, with these U-Series solutions, it is actually a one-stop shop solution for across the value chain. Now, I give an example, a U-Solar solution. So across the whole value chain of solar, from the developers all the way to the retail buyers, there is a financing solution for everyone in place. For example, if a company that wants to invest in solar panels, if the company's credit standing is not good enough to take a corporate loan, what we can do is we can finance the equipment provider to do a stretched out cash flow matching kind of solution, so that everyone is so that it's more inclusive for businesses to get those financing.
With this mission, I found that UOB Thailand might be a good connector.
Yes.
Because some of the local Thai people, they may not aware of what are the international standards.
Yes.
And some of the technologies that's beyond their normal operation, their usual operation. So
Absolutely.
UOB provides some of the view to them in the way that if you already have seen a very good example of the ecosystem on your solar, and why not that you can provide some consultant. But the most important is to connect them.
Yes, absolutely right.
to the right resources.
Absolutely right. So we play the role of the connector as well. Surprisingly, it's not just from us, right? Typically, this kind of collaboration, this kind of partnerships, you will be surprised to find that the corporates themselves have their own ecosystem, which we can connect to as well. And that helps to propagate more of the solutions across the country. Give you an example. A large corporate, their supply chain, their suppliers are also the suppliers of other large corporates. Now, if we work with certain suppliers, it actually helps to decarbonize the scope 3 of the other buyers as well. So I think it's very important that we see sustainability not from a silo individual effort, but rather from an ecosystem, from a collaborative, from a sector-wide effort.
Back to the mission like this, I found that's very interesting that you help Thai people and local clients to work on the mission. So, and back about your own mindset, how come you interest in the area of sustainability? But you said also you had worked with many other areas and finance, but the sustainability itself is not alone finance. It's combined with a lot of multi knowledge, right?
Yes.
And why you are still have a passion and interest on the work on sustainability?
A little bit of my background, right? So I was doing coverage roles, which is meaning I'm doing the corporate lending to businesses and companies. And right before this sustainability role came up, my children had a conversation with me, and it was quite enlightening. So my kids were telling me that why is my generation destroying the world? Why are we doing things that that why are we still burning fossil fuels? Why can't you be driving an EV? And what really struck me was not so much of that. Was he was just 7 years old at that time. Well, my daughter was 5 at the time. And what had happened was they were playing out in the sun. And within 30 minutes, they were hot, the pollution was bad, and they said they just want to go into the aircon space and not be out anymore. 20 years ago, during our time when we were kids, there was no such issues, right? You enjoy the outdoors, you enjoy the sun. But at this moment, I think there are so many impacts to climate that makes us just want to remain indoors and not go out. So he just asked me, my kids also asked me another question. When they have kids in future, are we all just going to be indoors? Will there be no more sports? They love their outdoor sports. They love their outdoor walks. Will this all be gone in future?
So this quite inspire us about your mission.
Yeah.
So now talking more about your journey of work,
Yeah.
A little bit further, if you may share some other projects. Do you also have any idea or project that how can you influence to other people? Maybe I'd like to leave some message to our Global Compact members and other chief of sustainability to help them to really keep on the work, because the sustainability work, the impact is not easy, and also it takes so many years to find the impact. So if there are some of the chief of sustainability officer are not patient enough to wait or continue long enough to get the impact, so it's not convince them. So how could you help us to talk to them? Let everyone that should help each other and keep on, because you already have a very good mission to work on. And how can you help us to encourage the other CSO?
Let me ask you a question. How long are you in sustainability?
So for me, it's about 6.5 years.
In my 3 years in this role, I've experienced many ups and downs. And the downs can be actually quite disheartening, especially when you see that you are trying so hard and yet others are not doing the same, right? And it can be quite a lonely journey in sustainability. The only thing I can say is we have to take a very long-term view in this journey, and there will be multiple pitfalls for all of us during this journey. It could be climate change impacts like the floods in the south. It could be political changes where certain declarations, certain commitments were suddenly taken aback. There could be many things that come our way, and these headwinds will continuously come in this journey. What is heartening to see is that there are also many people that are steadfast and resilient and say that they are still going on this mission to change the world. If you talk to the solutions providers, if you talk to the startups, you will feel very driven by the mission that they have on hand. It's not about profits. It's not about getting the next revenue dollar in. It's about staying true to their mission and trying to help corporates, trying to help the communities, trying to help the people to transition to this low carbon economy. For the CSOs, for the sustainability professionals out there, if you ever feel disheartened, talk to a sustainability startup. You will suddenly be re-energized.
We also learn each other about how can we keep on the work. And I think found that the value added is not by the end of the journey, but it's kind of the small win that sometimes we can take a look for the last 6 months, or sometimes it's just for a year, that at least you have seen your clients having a very good improvement. Even some of the area of the clients that already have a good kind of environment, they have a better business. So those gonna be a little bit of the reward
Yes.
until we see the impact of the long journey. Thank you so much. I think you leave a very good message, and we are in the podcast that we talk about what we ship can change the world.
Yes.
And now we have a collective of the people that you have a 6,000 people together that they already shift, right?
Yes.
They already had changed their behavior, and multiply by how many people in their family,
Yes,
no?
correct.
How many person that they can talk to,
Yeah.
and also hope that the podcast today will help to amplify
Yes.
the idea that you think that we can make the impact. Thank you so much for today.
Thank you so much.
When one business moves, its supply chain moves, and many supply chain move, the world shifts. Thank you for joining us on today's episode of We Shift World Change podcast by GCNT. Stay inspired, stay collaborative, and see you next time, where small shifts can create big change.